Jeff Braddock, welcome to the show, man. How are you?
Hello. I'm good. It's Thanks so much for having me, William. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to chat with you.
Yeah, man. I'm so stoked that we finally ended up here. We finally got this to happen.
Schedules were like colliding planets. Just it was it, but they just passed just so easily. So yeah, I'm really glad that it worked out, and I really appreciate you wanting to have a chat. That's super cool.
Yeah, man. Of course, got to talk to the man, the best community manager out there. You already know. Um,
Eh,
so
I'm
let's
all right.
nah. I mean, you're awesome, bro. All right, let's just jump into it. So I want to. The reason I wanted you on here is just because I want the community to really learn like who you are. So let's start there. Like, who are you, and what do you do at EA and everything?
Okay, no. So my name is Jeff Braddock. And that's pronounced Braddock, not Braddock, Brad Dick, whatever.
Get it right.
Or just Jeff. I mean, heck, most of the folks in other servers call me Brad. I don't. I'm not sure why. I'm guessing they, whatever. But what do I do? So I've been at EA for 14 years. This October. And I am the global community manager for the Skate franchise, with the privilege of working with the amazing Full Circle team on making the next Skate game. And I also, there's not really a title for it, but if there was a title, it would probably be like lead Discord platform admin. And basically, what that does, I build most, if not all, of the official EA Discords across all franchises. I've worked with various internal teams to build up our standards and processes, help define rules with our legal and safety teams, because we want to make sure that our players and our communities have a fun place that they can celebrate our games and celebrate getting to know each other. Also working on, I'm a bot wrangler, so like I've been testing out bots for over the last few years to find out which ones really work. And I'm working with our internal teams on how we can better serve our players in our servers, but also continue to improve on engagement, chatting with folks, moderation when it's necessary. I'm not a huge fan of wielding the hammer, but in cases where it's necessary, it has to happen. So yeah, I love thinking about platforms, because, to be perfectly honest, I the skate community didn't have an official community for many years, and that was one of the first things I wanted to do when I got brought onto the title in December of 2020. Was I want to build them a home, for them to celebrate the games and the lifestyle and IRL skateboarding and music and food and everything, which is why we have the server the way it is now.
Yeah, and that's awesome, and that's what the server is. It really is a home for the community because, like, the community's always kind of been there, but there's never really been a place to gather for all of us. So it's really cool that the server exists. And
And it, yeah, and post 2020, nobody wants to go to, no, like, I'm not saying this in a negative way, but like, I am old. I'm 46, man, but like, I don't even like going to forums anymore, and there's no shade on forums. Support forums are great because they can escalate issues directly to the devs and things like that. But like, for just chatting with folks, I like a more lively conversation. Plus, the beauty of platforms like Discord and things is it's on every device. I mean, we know Sony and Xbox have them on their systems now. It's on. You can get it on every phone. There's a desktop version. You can do web versions. It's just, it's where the folks are. I think about it as a platform for communication, kind of like TeamSpeak on steroids, because it has video. You can share files. I mean, it's really dope. And yeah, that's how old I am. I mean, if we really want to talk about it, AOL Instant Messenger is where I first started talking to people on the internet in 1992. So I am ancient.
no, that's awesome, man. It sounds like you have like you have your hands full, man. It sounds like you do a lot over there.
I like to keep busy, or else or I'll start getting myself into trouble. Idle hands and all that.
Right. Well, let's take it back. How did you end up working at EA? How did you end up here?
So I'll try to truncate the story because it started honestly, um 40 years ago yesterday when the movie Tron came out. I saw that movie in theaters and I wanted to be in video games. I wanted to work in games. Pardon me. Got to drink my water. Everybody drink your water. Um but watching that movie when I was a kid and really being blown away by the CGI that they had back in 1982 or 1984, sorry. Um I wanted to work in games. I wanted to do something with games. And then I realized the older I got and whatnot, I did not have the drive or the passion for development, like building games or learning coding and things like that.
It's hard.
But I wanted to be a, oh my gosh. I talk to these geniuses across various studios and I'm like, how do you know that? And the school and experience and failing and learning from errors and mistakes and things like it's amazing. But I love to chat. And growing up, that was the thing. I mean, I got in trouble in school all the time for finishing my work, my classwork early and chatting. But I had been working in the restaurant service industry for about 15 years. And I decided I wanted something different for myself. I was doing well. Everything was groovy. I was living in Austin, Texas. But, I mean, to be perfectly honest, when you work in a college town and working in the restaurants late is where the money is. And I had started a relationship with who is the woman who's now my wife, and I wanted to have a more normal lifestyle, you know, not coming home at 4 or 5 a.m. because I shut down the restaurant, shut down the bar or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I took a job that was just barely minimum wage, and I enjoyed it for about a year. I paid my bills, but I decided, well, I want to have a career. I want to do something interesting and something where I can learn every day. And I applied at another game company, my first application for a game company, and I kind of got the job, but then I didn't. And as I was walking out of the recruiter's office, kind of crestfallen from the situation because I was like, wow, that could have been cool, I saw an ad on Craigslist. And the ad literally said, "Do you like EA Sports?" And I kid you not, brother. I was getting on the bus, and I said, "Hell yeah, man!" Because it's in the game. I've been playing EA Sports titles since John Madden on Sega. So I'm like, "Yeah, bro!" And I called, and they gave me an interview, and they said, "Come in today for the interview." And I literally did. I instead of getting off my bus in North Austin to go towards my house, I just followed it.
Dude,
and
that's
I
wild.
get over to. Yeah, dude, it was crazy. Like the fact that happened, like within bam, bam, bam. It was to me, it really tells that the universe was trying to guide me a bit. And so I get in there and I chat with the folks and like my knowledge of games, specifically EA titles, you know, old school Road Rash, Skate or Die, all of the Maddens, all of the FIFAs back in the day when it was called FIFA before EA Sports Football Club, the NCAA's, the Tiger Woods games. I just loved them, and so got through the interview, and they called me the next day and said, "Yeah, man, training starts Monday. Come in." And I started there on the ground floor, tier 1 phone support. I was the chap that would answer the phone. "Thank you for contacting Electronic Arts. My name is Jeff. May I please have your email address to reference your account?" And it would invariably be, "Okay, so your Sims are all on fire and just gave birth to a basketball. What kind of custom content do you have installed? Let's go ahead and install that first to see if the game's actually broken or if you added a mod or something weird." One of my first calls, though, was for the Skate 3 share pack code. So
Nice.
I got hired in October, which is about 6 months after Skate 3 launched in May 11th, to be exact, 2010. And I loved it, man. I loved helping people get back in the game. To me, that was one of the most important things is making sure players could get back in the game and enjoy their distractions, their happiness, their hobbies. And after about 6 months, I was asked to pilot a program for escalated chat, where basically, you know, at the time, we couldn't escalate like super security stuff directly into chat. You'd have to call in. And you'd have to get a call back. Well, we didn't really have a great callback system back then. And so I piloted that with a team, and it was really, really cool, really, really fun. We were handling multiple chats at the same time, but we were also making sure that further advanced troubleshooting, account support was handled appropriately. And after a couple months, I was asked if I wanted to come across to the community side. And I was like, yeah, bro, that'd be dope. And so I became a forum admin. And the forum admin position was basically a lot of moderation, but also triaging issues. Because I mean, I had worked in support, so I knew how to help them with like various troubleshooting and things like that. And we got to pick our forums, and the forums that I picked, which has basically been my career, most of EA, were the EA Download Manager, because which became Origin, which became the EA app. I helped out on the Madden forums, but my primaries were Skate, which was Skate 3 forums, BioWare, Need for Speed, the games, and Need for Speed World, and the Battlefield franchise, and The Sims. And, Bad Company 2 had come out, the Onslaught expansion had come out.
Yes.
We were gearing up for Battlefield 3, which would launch in that year, in 2011. And, yeah, man, just getting in there with the community, I also handled the toss of the forums, which was just basically, any infractions people would have, we would take care of them according to a matrix. And I was more of I'm more of a fan of education rather than punishment. Obviously, if there's situations where someone needs to be removed from a community for the safety of the larger community, of course that is unfortunate. But like, I'd rather just talk to people and be like, hey, what's going on? Why are you upset? Okay, well, let's talk about it. Hash it out. Get people to calm down a little bit, because when you're talking with people about their passions, it sometimes those safeties come off, and I found that a lot of people say things that they don't actually mean when you're having a regular conversation. But when they're frustrated, and I mean, we're human, it happens. But when we're frustrated, when we're passionate about something, when something's not going our way in a realistic way, right? We can get a bit untoward with others. And so I prefer to have a conversation before having to enact any kind of infractions and things like that. And then I did that for a while. Sorry, it's a history. 14 years.
This
I
is
did
what
that
I
for a
want.
while.
Yeah, this is perfect.
And then I had the opportunity to do another pilot program. I've gotten to pilot a lot of programs at EA, which has been really cool. And one of the programs was basically where we took our social support and added it to our brand account. So like back in the day, if you, I also have the, side note, have the earliest join date of Battlelog. My account actually has the one day before it actually launched, so that's kind of cool.
That's awesome.
But a little bit of a humble brag there. But we piloted this program where basically if you tweeted to Battlefield and you added a social, or on their social channels, or you posted on their Facebook and you had an issue that could be resolved by troubleshooting, it's weird for the brand of a brand account to respond. To be perfectly honest, most of the time they're not support folks, right? Most of the time they're brand folks, or they're community folks, or they're social media managers, and they haven't done the support experience that I have, or that the team that I was working with had. And so what we did is we created the process where instead of Battlefield telling you, Battlefield as an example, hey, I need help with this, Battlefield saying, you go tweet at EA Help would just slide in without any handoff and be like, hey, sounds like you're having a connectivity issue. Okay. Come over here, we've got some FAQs. And so the branded accounts could focus on, truthfully, marketing and engagement and sharing news, while the support accounts could handle the issues. And yes, unfortunately, there are a lot of times, especially with account security, billing and stuff, that people have to go to EA Help and wait in a queue. It sucks, but that is the reality, and it's for the protection of folks' accounts. I hate it when I have to do that for other games and other companies, but I understand, because I'd rather that happen than what could happen in this world of the internet, which is somebody could be sneaking your information out or whatever. So
yeah.
Then I did that for a while, and it was really, really cool. And I was in a summit right after I got married. I got married in September of 2015, and I went to a summit of leadership in Ireland at our Galway office. And we went out to lunch, and the director of community and social at the time asked me, hey, Jeff, would you like to be a community manager? I was like, yeah, bro, that'd be dope. And he's like, I didn't even tell you what game. I was like, I don't even care, man. And I tell this story everywhere, so I'm not, it's funny. I'm like, I can learn to love The Sims so much. I mean, I probably will burn my house down every single playthrough, so I won't have any saves. And I will take the pool out of the ladder because that's funny. I said, but yeah, I could totally do this. And he's like, well, we'd like to bring you on for Battlefield as the North American community manager. And my jaw literally dropped.
Dude.
I was so excited. And I got to work under a fantastic dude named Dan Mitri. And then did Battlefield for about 5 or 6 years. So my whole Battlefield career was about 9 years. And I mean, I had played Battlefield since it was codename Eagle by Refractor Studios back in the day, but the spiritual predecessor, Battlefield 1942, 2, 3, all of them. And 2016 was an amazing year. I traveled all over. We got to go to TwitchCon and Gamescom and Comic-Con to really support the Battlefield 1 game, which I think is it's in the top 4 of best Battlefields. I just love the game.
Dude, I'll have to stop you real quick. I love Battlefield, and I adore Battlefield 1. I miss that game so much. Y'all did an incredible job with everything with it. Like, oh my god, I love that game so much. I just wanted to say that.
The devs were so yeah, man. The devs were so passionate, and truthfully, no one had really done such a large scale IP with a World War One.
Never.
Theme,
it was completely new.
And yet it didn't feel extra slow. Of course, the weapons and the vehicles and things like that were, biplanes and track tanks and bolt action, but it didn't feel super slowed down. The music, oh my god, Seven Nation Army by Glitch Mob.
Dude,
what?
I think about that trailer all the time. That's like the best trailer of all time. Like,
especially when he's like, break forward.
Yes, dude. Yeah.
And it comes down over the trenches and you're like, oh.
I when that trailer came out, I was working in a wing place, and me and my friend worked together, and we loved Battlefield, and we were watching that trailer just like screaming in the back of the kitchen, just losing our minds.
Yeah, man. It was an exciting time. It was a super exciting time. We did our first EA Play with Battlefield 1 as a significant part of that, where we had like celebrities and content creators playing a scrimmage match. I mean, Snoop Dogg was there, Terry Crews.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was super cool. It was crazy cool. And then I worked on Battlefield 5. And after Battlefield 5, I kind of wanted to take a step back. Absolutely adore the Battlefield community, but I was like, I want to do something new. So I worked on some partner titles like Rocket Arena, and that was a fun 3v3.
Which underrated, so underrated. That game was super fun.
Underrated. And also, the soundtrack was dope. I mean, Green Day on the soundtrack, their newest track at the time, was super dope. So I got to work on that, and it was a lot of fun. And then I handed the reins over to a fantastic colleague and dear friend who was a streamer on the Battlefield Mixer team. Her name's Nixie. She works for the competitive side of Apex now. And I'm so proud of her and all the awesome stuff she's doing over there. And yeah, I don't want to continue because it actually answers one of your questions, because it was significant at that time. But that's where I was up until June 2020. So I'll wait until that question and I'll finish up.
Okay, got you. So yeah, that's awesome. I mean, just the events leading up to you getting hired at EA and everything. That's so cool, man. Like, sounds like it's been quite the adventure. And just
crazy.
You've worked in close proximity with like some really great games, so that's really sick. Through this whole time, like, what was your relationship with Skate though? Like, were you playing Skate throughout these years?
Oh my gosh, yes. So, I found Skate in 2007. I was working in a restaurant in Austin, Texas, and I had a good friend named Andrew, and we decided to go out for the evening to have some beverages as adults would after working in the restaurant for the day. Yeah. And I had a few too many, and that's okay because we weren't going to go out anywhere. We were at his apartment. And he was like, dude, if you want to crash, man, you don't have to take a bus. By the way, the reason I keep mentioning buses, I hadn't owned a car or motorized transportation since I left Houston. Mm-hmm. So I didn't need one, man. I rode my longboard, always riding my longboard. I rode my longboard, or I took a bus, or I did both, take the board on the bus and then get off and then to go skate off. So I was like, thanks, dude. And he goes, but before I go, he's gonna go crash. He goes, before I go to bed, let me show you this game. He's like, it's a skateboarding game. I was like, is it like Tony Hawk? And he's like, no. And that's all he said, no. And he showed me, and I was like, oh my god, this looks so hard. And I stayed up the whole night. Like I sobered up in a couple of hours, and I was just up all night playing on his PS3, and I was in love because it had the fun that Tony Hawk Pro Skater originally had when I played it back in 1999 on my Nintendo 64, but it was difficult.
Yeah.
That flick it system. It's like, you're not button pressing. No shade to Tony Hawk games. They're awesome. But it was, you had to understand a little bit more physics of skateboarding and the way angles work and things like that. And I fell so many times. But yeah, man, I played. And next morning he wakes up and he gets to see like the bags under my eyes. He goes, dude, did you sleep? I was like, nah, dude. But I gotta go get a PS3 now. And so yeah, then Skate 2 came out in 2008. Was it 2008? 2009.
9, yeah. It was 9.
Yeah. Skate 2 came out, and I'd go over to his house because I only had a PS2 at the time. And we'd just jam out. And then yeah, Skate 3 came out, and that was one of our, when we'd have breaks, when I was working at the EA office in Austin, we'd have our lunch breaks, and I'd just go fire up Skate 3.
That's
and
awesome.
I'd go hit I'd go tool around Port Carverton. We'd take turns. We do never been done before. Just the few folks in the office that were having lunch at the same time, or we'd play games of Skate. It was amazing. It was so good and so much fun. And it, like, I mean, I got to do the Skate forums. I used to lurk over on the old Skate Flucket forums. So, like, what people weren't comfortable telling us on our official forums, I'd go see what they were saying so that I could escalate those kind of issues and help the game and help our players. So I've been a fan. I did not ever play, and I'm ashamed. I don't even know if I need to get rid of my Skate tattoo, but I never played Skate It because I didn't ever want a Wii or a Wii U. But yeah, man, I've been a fan of the franchise forever, and I mean, it's just the soundtrack, the visuals of each of the games, which are different but they have a continuity to them, and the storyline, and just the way it makes you feel for, as someone who who absolutely never would be at X Games as a competitor or at any competition. Yeah. Really. I like to roll as a skater, man. I just like to roll and cheer people on. But maybe a few tricks when I was much, much younger and a lot less afraid of breaking old bones. But that's why I longboard.
Yeah.
I have a longboard for the vibes. But yeah, man, it was it's been part of my gaming life since they hit the scene.
Yeah.
And it's been fun, and the community is just awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Skate is a very special series. I think that's why there's so many people that have like held on to it all these years when we didn't know there was a game coming out. Like there was still such a following for it because it's just, I mean, those games are so special. And also
it changed things.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the way you can play a skateboarding game was forever changed. And then you look at like current games that are out, they took those steps and went a few steps further.
Yeah.
So it's been really, really cool to watch.
It completely evolved the genre. I mean, even once Skate came out, I mean, I don't know, did Project 8 come out after Skate? I'm not really
yes.
It did, right? And they even had a system to where you could slow down time and then flick the stick. And it was like Skate, but in Tony Hawk. Like even they were like noticing it and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And don't feel bad about Skate It, because I just played it for the first time like a month ago. So because I
promise I don't feel super bad about it. But yeah, if there was an opportunity, like I'm not gonna go on eBay and try to find a Wii and a Wii U or Wii U and Skate It or whatever. But if somebody had one, I'd definitely be down to just try it out, just to see how it would feel in a different controller, things like that.
Yeah. See, I never liked the Wii, so I just never had one when I was younger. So yeah, I never played it. But now I have. Okay, so yeah, you played Skate all those years, and you're working at EA and everything. Skate eventually gets announced. Where were you when this happened? I think everyone remembers, where they were when it was announced.
I was literally sitting right here where I am right now, and it was obviously because of the pandemic starting
Yeah.
in 2020.
And you didn't know it was getting announced, right?
I had no clue.
Okay.
Because I mean, like, there is. I could have probably found out if I wanted to do any digging, but I'm not that. I'm just. I have worked long enough in public jobs like restaurants and whatnot, and this industry, that a lot of things get spoiled for me. So if there's an opportunity for me to not spoil something for myself, I'm down, dude. Like I really try not to look or talk to anybody who's working on unannounced projects. Like when they announced the Iron Man game. I didn't even know we were making an Iron Man game. That was super cool,
yeah,
man.
That's sick.
Right? Like so I was sitting right here and I had these headphones on and I'm watching EA play digital. Sorry, I get I get a little choked up because it was an epic moment, and I also scared my neighbors. So I'm sitting at my desk. No, actually, we lived in the valley, so I was same setup, different room size, but like basically the same. But we lived in like a townhouse in the valley where I had neighbors like through paper thin walls, which is relevant. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching EA play, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then the two faces popped up. Cousin D, we're back. I screamed. I screamed so loud. My neighbor knocked on the door because he thought something was wrong. And like I run down the stairs and I open the door. I'm like, dude, no, Skate's back. And he's like, don't you work for the company? I was like, yeah. He goes, how did you not know? I was like, I always hoped. But I wasn't like snooping through files that I didn't need to be in or whatever like that. So, I mean, I almost flipped my desk. I had to reorganize. I jumped up. I hurt my thighs because my thighs hit my desk because I jumped up because I could not believe it.
Yeah.
Because for so long, people would ask about it, blow up the EA social channels during events like E3 or Gamescom when hashtag Skate4, hashtag Skate4, and to the point that there was an announcement: we are not. I think it was in 2018. We are not working on Skate 4.
Yeah. Oh, so deflating.
And so, oh, absolutely. But like, it still held out hope, right?
Yeah.
And and to find that out was fantastically amazing and super, super excited.
Yeah. It was. I was the same way. I jumped off my couch and I was freaking out. My wife is sitting next to me. She's like, "What the hell is he doing?" Like, but
it's a video game, dude. You don't understand.
Yeah. I don't think anyone I know personally like understands like how like just what skate means, like I don't know, it was an incredible day. But yeah, so that happens. How long from that to like you finding out you're gonna be able to be working on the game?
So that announcement was June 20th. Or early June, like the first 2 weeks of June, 2020, and I was working on Rocket Arena at the time, but I did think, I was like, man, who is going to be the community manager for that game? I may know somebody who would love to give it, throw their hat in the ring, for possible consideration. And because of the pandemic, and this is really, really funny. So not the pandemic was not funny, but because of the pandemic, a lot of local skate shops were shutting down. They couldn't get foot traffic, right?
Yeah.
Like, all of that. And so there was a skate shop that had posted on Facebook, mass sale, $5 decks.
Wow.
Every deck. Now they were pre-used. Some of them, they had designs that they couldn't resell anyways. So they had to put a little bit of stripe of paint over it to cover up the design. And these weren't like Costin boards or anything like that. These were just local designers, but they had to put a paint over them. And they were, some of them were a little warped. So they weren't totally rideable, but you could do stuff with them, right? So I bought like 50.
Okay.
I also got some like bearings for my longboard. I got some new wheels and stuff like that, and some bushings. But I bought 50 decks because we had just bought a house in July 27th. and I wanted to make shelves because I'd seen this. Dude, I had seen this on Etsy and I had seen this on Instagram. $50 for a skateboard shelf. For one shelf.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, $5 deck, $1.50 brackets, boom, boom, I got a shelf. And that's $8. So I started doing that. And my fantastically wonderful wife, I said, hey, look, I'd like to have one room for a home office because I'm working from home. And she's like, yeah, for sure. She goes, do you want the other room to be your music room and your game room? And I'm like, oh, that'd be dope. She goes, you can have the front of the house. She's like, but I get the back office and I get the master bathroom. And I was like, absolutely, you got it. So like, I've got this room, which is my home office. And then I've got my game room and whatnot. But I was like, I want to decorate. So I painted the game room just slate gray and nice and cool. Soundproofing. I got soundproofing in here. But I wanted to put some of the stuff that I've collected over the years. And so I started making shelves out of the decks. So I made skateboard shelves. And I'm working on some like patio furniture out of some of the used decks because I've still got a bunch left. And then I found some assets, some images of the covers of Skate 1, 2, and 3. And I went to a major retailer box store, not Costco, but the other one with the W. And they have a photo center, and I could put this image in there and get posters printed. So I printed up some posters. And so I put Skate 1, 2, and 3 on my... you can't see them, they're above the shelves over here. By the way, I'm pointing in the camera.
Yeah.
But Skate 1, 2, and 3... let's see if I can show them real quick. There you go, guys. There you are. All right. So back to me. See, it's interactive. We're gonna do this. So I made these posters, and then my manager at the time knew I was super passionate about skate. I was so stoked. And I kept talking to him, and I was like, "Do you know who's gonna be?" And he's like, "I don't know." Blah 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 blah. The studio's got to be formed. Da 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 da. And so that December, after I'd handed off the reins of Rocket Arena to the fantabulous Nixie, I said, he's like, "Hey Jeff, would you like to work on Skate?" I'm like, "May I show you my posters and my shelves made of decks? May I show you all my longboards and all of the wall art that I've got that's definitely about skateboarding and whatnot?" And so yeah, and it freaked out. Like I kid you not, like it's not just working on a franchise that I love so much that really really got me. It was working on a community, working with a community that is about good vibes and chilling and having a good time and watching the return of some of these OG devs to basically a passion project. Mm-hmm. You know, like they really want to make this game to be the culmination of all of skate. That you know, like you've heard me say it in the Discord. It's not a sequel. It's not a remake. It's not a remaster. It's not a reboot. It is the evolution of the franchise. And when I first got that pitch, when they were talking and they were sharing, you know, design docs and things like that, I got emotional, bud, because like this is cool to watch, especially because, to be perfectly honest, in game development, a lot of times marketing, community, social aren't brought in so early, just like our communities are not brought in so early as the skate team has done. So like skate has really done a lot in breaking down the expected nature of game development, like showing stuff super early, starting, you know, campaigns super early, play testing. I mean, we've been play testing almost 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not a bad thing, because the more we can test, the more things we can find, the more bugs we can fix, the more bugs we can fix, the more we can improve the game, the better it'll be when it does launch, and it's exciting, and there's challenges for sure, because like there's a lot I can't talk about, because I know a lot that may or may not happen, but I've seen what we're testing internally, right? And I'm all about setting appropriate expectations and delivering on those expectations. Over delivering, but under promising, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's gonna be cool, and then when it, you know, dropping something super badass and impeccably awesome, right? So but yeah, man, it was a very, very exciting. I called my wife like at work. I was like, "I'm working on Skate."
That's awesome, man. I don't think they could have chose a better person to be community manager for Skate.
I'm sure there's tons of people out there. I
Dude,
just
no
was lucky
way.
enough to be. No, I was just in eye shot. They're like, "Hey, so we need some." Jeff is shaking like an excited poodle. Let him have it.
Yeah. I mean, but I think it's important that like they got someone that actually loves the franchise and like is passionate about the skate games like we are. I think that's super important.
Absolutely, and I'm the only one in the company that has the skate tattoo, so you know,
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of. By the way, I didn't have that before I got the job. I got this in celebration of the 15th anniversary of the franchise 2 years ago. So, but yeah, I am kind of known for my EA tattoos.
Yeah.
Like I've got I worked on Titanfall Social for a while, so I got a Titanfall one. I got my EA one the night before I got the Titanfall one, which the Titanfall one was actually the launch of Titanfall. My tattoo shop happened to be across the street from the Microsoft Theater that we were going to launch it at, so I was like, I'll go do that for 20 minutes. The Battlefield one, I actually it was an ex-dev from Battlefield 1942 had opened a tattoo shop in Stockholm, and
cool.
yeah, dude. So these game tattoos are freaking awesome. And then the skate one was my first tattoo in California. My wife, though, she did ask me after I got the skate one, you know, understanding, you know, I skateboard and I longboard and I love the culture and I love the lifestyle and the music and the fashion and everything. She's like, could you please stop getting brand logos on you unless the company's gonna pay for them.
Yeah.
By the way, this is a plug from anybody at EA watching this. Make my wife happy. I said, well, technically, babe, they are paying for him. And she goes, no.
You are
not your
getting paid,
payroll.
technically.
She's like, not your payroll. Get an extra check. Get more. Get a bonus. I'm like, girl, if they give me a bonus for tattoos, I'm literally going to be at the tattoo shop before it hits the bank. Like, yeah.
Is there any other game you want to get tattooed of?
Oh, there's tons, bro.
Oh,
There's
okay.
tons. So, like, the skate one, I want to do, like, a half sleeve-ish type thing with San Vansterdam,
Oh, that's sick.
Port Carverton, San Vanalona, maybe some street signs, maybe some shadowy type skaters, you know, just like pro.
That would be really cool.
And then I do want to get Faith from Mirror's Edge because I think, first off, getting to work with the DICE team for as long as I did was an amazing opportunity. But the passion they have and the fact that they created a franchise that you didn't need to be violent to win. I kind of dig that. The parkour, the running. Faith is a super cool character, and so I want to get Faith. I loved Dead Space. I'm not a horror game fan. I don't like scary games generally. I mean, I'll play them, but I'm like, I'm not like chomping at the bit to play them, but I loved Isaac Clarke. And Dead Space 1, 2, and 3, I played the Dead Space mobile games. I have, you know, I've watched the animes. I've got lithographs in my game room. Because I just really love the design of Dead Space. It was kind of like Alien, but instead of aliens, it's evil, demonic zombie monster things and the crazy babies. Oh my gosh. So I want to get Isaac Clarke. And I don't know, man. I mean, I've got Boba Fett from Battlefront on my upper right arm. I don't show it. I'm not embarrassed about my tattoo, but it needs some improvement. Yeah, I told my wife, and my next tattoo though is going to be my dog's paw print. And if the skate community is watching, the love that the skate Discord has shown Kuma.
Oh yeah.
It means so much to me and my wife, and so yeah. But I finally got him to get me some paw print, so I'm looking at figuring out where I can get the paw print. And then I saw this amazing tattoo artist in LA. She does paw prints, but then she does their actual face in the pads instead of just, you know, blackout paw print. It's actually like photorealistic
cool.
Their face, and I'm like, oh girl, what's like, how much money's? And then they just start throwing all of my credit cards and wallet at her. But yeah, I don't know. I other than that, I'd like to get a bit more fill in because, like, I mean, they are just logos right now.
Yeah.
But I'd like them eventually to have some continuity of some sort and fill in. Like, I was talking to a couple of the Battlefield art guys about the evolution of the franchise, maybe starting with biplanes and then moving over to like stealth bombers and tanks, horses into tanks and things like that.
Oh, that would be cool.
Or adding some of the color swatches like the orange and the blue that Battlefield generally have to give it a bit more depth. But yeah. I'm a big fan of expressing yourself on the art, expressing yourself with art on the canvas of the body.
I love it, man. I wish I had more tattoos than I have. It's just a lot of money. So
I wish I had more money than I have, so I can get a lot more tattoos.
yeah,
I'm just gonna say it.
yeah, exactly. So I want to round out the skate conversation. I gotta ask the golden question. Well, I'm gonna ask two questions actually. So, one, what is your favorite game of the skate series? And two, what is your favorite game just in general, like of all time?
Oh wow. So the second one's really hard.
Yeah,
'Cause, I mean, I've been gaming since the television in 1982.
yeah,
So it's really hard, and there's a lot that are the top favorites. Like I have favorites, like five, and they'll probably be disagreed with by most people. But for me, they have significance, and to me, that's a favorite. I would say my favorite game in the Skate franchise is Skate 3.
okay,
I love 1 and 2. Absolutely love 1 and 2. I 2 has this awesome grittiness. 1 was just so unique and different, right?
Yeah.
Compared to everything else out there. But 3, it felt like they had their groove. And there's a lot of fun, silly moments. But one of the reasons Skate 3 is so important to me right now is because I had a dear, dear friend who worked with me at EA in 2010, and we were friends on Xbox and friends on, and he was an Xbox player. He did not play PlayStation. We became friends on Xbox, and Skate 3 has this awesome ghost feature. A lot of games do, right? And so I'd be skating around, and this slightly translucent character with his gamer name would come by, and you can't really interact with them. They're just there to fill up the city. My friend Rob passed 3 or 4 years ago. And it was hard because I was here in California and we didn't know. And every now and then I'll log on to Skate 3 and Rob will pass by me. And so he's not gone. He's always going to be in that digital world with me. And so the fact that the game has that ability to help us stay connected to folks that are not in our lives, whether we moved on or whatever, or they've moved on to the great beyond, it adds a huge layer of love in my heart for the game, and also it's fun as hell, man. It's just a fun game. But like, yeah, getting to see Rob or some of my other friends that I haven't talked to in years because as life happens, you grow apart. It's significant, and I think that's one of the best things about video games in general is the fact that, you know, whether you have a video clip or you see those ghost NPCs based off your friends list in the game or whatever, they can give you a moment in time when life may have been a little easier, life was a little different, and all those awesome memories of he and I sitting on the couch at EA Austin playing Skate 3, and I'd get him. I mean, he'd make me play UFC with him. And he'd always make me tap out, so I'd make him play games of Skate, and I would always try to destroy him. But it's those really awesome moments that mean so much, and why gaming honestly is so important. Not only is it an opportunity for us to be distracted from the world that we live in, but it's opportunity for us to make these amazing connections that last a lifetime, you know, and beyond. But as far as my favorite games, gosh. Obviously, there's going to be a Battlefield in there. Yeah. I would say Battlefield 4. Battlefield 4, I had so much fun with playing and supporting that game, and really met a lot of decent, good people that I've been friends with since. You know, the game came out in 2013, and that's 11 years, and I still randomly chat to these folks. It was an awesome time. We would do this thing where it actually turned into a big thing for the game and the franchise, which is super cool. But a few of us would sit on TeamSpeak and we play Battlefield 4, and that would be our Friday night Battlefield. And I'd have like a glass of whiskey, and they'd have some beers, and they were in Ireland, and so the ping was terrible for us. But we'd just be on TeamSpeak and we'd be having fun, and we'd be talking about life and video games and playing Battlefield, and being a total noob with the UCAV and just all sorts of fun stuff. So Battlefield 4 is in there. Obviously Skate 3. I really, really love the game Ghost of Tsushima.
Nice.
It had such an impactful story. Like there's like 4 times that you're gonna ball your face off unless you're made of complete absolute stone in that game. And I've completed that game 7 times, and I want to play another one. I want to play another playthrough. Yeah, dude. I mean, it's no slouch. And also, I'm not like rushing through to complete. Like each playthrough is at least 125 hours. Because I just wanted to play.
My wife recently beat that game, and it took her like 130 hours. Like.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. Because you got to watch everything, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And then you got to think about the best tactics, and those duels are insane. City of Heroes. Now, City of Heroes was really important to me because when I discovered the game, my girlfriend at the time, who's my wife, she went back to Korea for like a month and a half to go visit her grandmother. And I was in Austin and I was working in restaurants and bars. And I'm like, okay, so I could go out for like $25 a night and get drunk and make some bad decisions. Or for $15 for 1 month, I could play an MMO.
Yeah.
And I had a decent, crappy PC. Like, honestly, when they did a graphics update, my PC would literally cry. Like, man, when I'd go into zones, I didn't care. I mean, I eventually upgraded, of course. But my girlfriend and I, we played that so much. And it really brought our relationship into a different aspect rather than just hanging out and watching a movie or going to do this. But we built a better communication strategy. It was really cool. Plus, it's fun to do, and we're not hurting anybody. We're just being superheroes. She was my healer. I was her tank. We were a dynamic duo. It was so much fun.
That's awesome.
And then I would say, gosh. It'd probably be Need for Speed Underground 1 and 2, and I have to put them together, just because it was like, it was iconic. I mean, it was really before the Fast and Furious franchise movie franchise had come out. So like the cars were dope, the music was dope.
Yeah.
Dum dum dum. Like 369. You're like, oh my god. Yeah,
Dude, games are so good.
But it was so much fun, and the customization. I mean, driving an Escalade and blowing the doors off of Supra was so much fun. And then you'd use your hydraulics, or you'd shift the back of the cat. It was crazy. But yeah, I'd say those are my top. Battlefield 4, Skate 3, City of Heroes, Ghost of Tsushima, and Need for Speed Underground series.
Dude, just all bangers. Just great picks, dude. And I wanted to say, I want to go back to your Skate 3 answer. One, I'm sorry for your loss. Like, I hate to hear that, but that is like beautiful. Like, that's the most beautiful answer to what is your favorite skate game there could be. Like, that's incredible. That's really awesome.
Thanks.
So I guess we'll go off of Skate and just kind of get more into you. We're like at 50 minutes right now, so we'll try to start winding it down, but I do want to go into some other things about you. I'm
a chatty mofo, sorry.
No, I love it. I mean, there's no time limit to these, but I don't want to keep you here for 4 hours.
And I mean, dude, it's like 8:30 there, so like I want to be very respectful of your time.
You're good, dude. I'm chilling. I'm fine. But I want to get into skating in real life. What is your history with that? How long have you been skating? And like, who's your favorite skaters and stuff like that?
So, like, I first stepped on a board in 1986. I was about 8 years old. Don't do the math. I'm old. That's all. But I got my first board, I think, when I was like 10, and it was a Steve Douglas New Deal. It was pink, and it had green and yellow slime balls with gosh, I think it had Crux trucks back in the day. Man, I actually wanted to start skateboarding because of Marty McFly.
Okay, yeah.
Like,
I've heard
really.
people say that
like
before.
Back to the Future, like sketching. Like you see Michael J. Fox, God bless him, like grabbing on into like the power of love, dude, and you're like, yeah, Yeah, that's where I got into it. Now a lot of my friends got way more into it than I did. I was just down to be part of, to ride and have a good time, maybe pop a couple of tricks and bust my face, which happened a lot. Um, but yeah, I really enjoyed the freedom of it, and that's the thing, like the freedom of movement, the feeling of, and I mean, we know how skateboarding really, really, really took off in like the 60s and 70s with surfers who just wanted to surf when it was too cold to go in the water, right? And so that's
Yeah.
just has basically been my ethos when I skate. It's like I just want to roll. I just want to just carve on concrete and have a good time. Celebrate the short boards. Celebrate the folks doing street, vert, and flatland tricks. But I'm just here for the vibes, right?
Yeah.
So I've been skating since then. I had my worst accident when I was 18. I fell down an extinct, or not extinct, but an inactive volcano in the
Okay, yeah,
Caribbean.
let's get
Really,
into that. What happened
I don't
there?
want to get too much into it. So like we lived in the Caribbean because my family had moved there to help rebuild parts of the island that were destroyed by a hurricane.
Oh
I
wow.
think it was Hurricane Andrew in 1996, and my parents had dropped me off at the top of this peak, and they said we'll meet you in town, and I had my board. And fun fact: you cannot walk off a 40-mile-per-hour speed wobble. You cannot. You're going to fall.
Yeah.
And I did. And oh, it was bad. Really, 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 really messed up my left knee. Ripped my shirt off because I slid on the road, which is not super nice paved roads. I mean, they were paved, but not really super nice. So fell forward, tore up my hand, sliding on my face, then flipped on my head and fell backwards and slid on my back, and then flipped again and smashed down.
Oh my god,
Luckily,
dude.
my yeah, dude, it was rough. Luckily, my folks had seen a big pile of dust and body parts flailing around, and so they stopped. They were near the bottom, and they backed up, and they got me and threw me in the back of the truck. I mean, gently, of course. I'm bleeding everywhere. And I had to have emergency care. My knee does have a skosh of the arthritis, so depending on the weather or what's going on, sometimes it does have pain and whatnot. But like, and I've got these really cool, crazy scars where you can see where a 4-inch rock went into the center of my kneecap.
Oh my god.
I thought, like, not to be super gross, thought it was part of my bone, and like an idiot, I pull it out,
Oh.
and then I couldn't walk anymore. It wasn't my bone; it was just a big ass rock
Oh
that fell into
man.
that decided to lodge itself in my knee. And then yeah, like 2 or 3 weeks later, we moved back to the States, which was an interesting time because we had sold everything, and we were kind of homeless for a little while. Which, I mean, shit happens, right? So like, yeah, that was me skateboarding, and then I moved back to Houston, did stuff around Houston, worked and what. And then when I moved to Austin, like I had sold my car before I moved from Houston, and when I moved to Austin, I was just like, I don't want a car. Like it's got public transportation. I moved during a very, very hot summer, so all the buses were free at the time because they were worried about ozone warnings,
Mm.
and so like for like a year, I didn't have to pay for buses. I was able to use the university buses because it got University of Texas, major university there, and so like it was dope. And I was just I just kept longboarding, bombed a lot of hills. Even right after I'd gotten started at EA that following for my birthday, my girlfriend took me to Japan, and I got to skate in the Harajuku district, which is super dope. Um, uh, yeah, so I've been rolling for a very long time. I really love taking my dog for walks. I'll longboard and he'll run because I do not want to run as fast as a little small miniature husky who likes to run very fast.
Yeah.
People think he's pulling me. I'm like, no, because he's also not very strong. I mean, he's strong, but he's not that strong. And then yeah, recently for the first time, I mean, and I watched one of the things when I was working at a restaurant in Houston was the X Games. I watched Tony pull off the first 900
That's
when I was
awesome.
working at a bar and a restaurant on the X Games on the TV. And so this year, I had the really, really awesome experience of getting to go to the X Games in Ventura. I was supposed to go last year, but my wife decided she wanted to give me a gift of COVID 3 days before the X Games last year, and God bless her. She's lucky she's cute, because I was so grumpy. I wasn't mad, but I was like, I mean, you can't help it, right? Like, you can do your best, but sometimes things are going to happen. But like, I got to go this year, and it was super cool. I rented a car because I ride motorcycles, and I'm like, I don't want to carry backpacks and stuff. It's going to be warm. It's going to be hot. I want to listen to music on the 2-hour drive from my house. So rented a car, loaded up my gear, and I went. And man,
it's awesome.
Super cool experience.
How did it go? Like what did you watch? Just everything? Like, I don't know how X Games works like in real life. But
so basically, like, I went there Thursday because I wanted to get there for the women's qualifiers. I think it was the qualifiers on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So I went Thursday, and I got there before 5 because I also didn't want to deal with, like, I live in Long Beach and it's in Ventura, so I would have to drive through downtown LA.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to do that on a Thursday rush hour, so I left early enough. And sorry, I'm adjusting in my seat. Your viewers will see that I move around a lot, and I cannot help that. If I don't move around, I will explode. So you're welcome for the non-explosion. But I get up there and I unpack, and I was at a crap motel.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care about the room, right? Like, I when I travel for EA, it's one thing. You know, we have various hotels that this company works with and whatnot. I didn't care. I wanted to save my monies. I just needed a place that was not completely unsafe, but also very, very close to the venue, because I didn't want to have to deal with parking. So this little crappy motel, God bless them, was 7-minute walk to the event. And basically, when you get there, so I got there, I walked to downtown Ventura. They were having a drone show and a downhill jam, and it was dope, and everybody's super cool. I met so many dogs, by the way. I love meeting dogs. I love saying hello to puppies anywhere I go. I count my trips to see the team in full circle as successful by the number of dogs that I get to see. Obviously, they're going to be successful because of the collaboration and working with the full circle team. But did I get to go out for walks after work and meet a bunch of dogs? And the answer is resoundingly always yes, because I make it a point. I usually walk about 7 miles a day when I'm in Vancouver. Dang. Just to go meet dogs.
Dang.
Yeah, just to meet dogs, dude. Like, I don't want to sit in a hotel room and watch crappy hotel cable that really doesn't have anything on.
Of course.
And I don't bring my consoles and stuff, so I just go around and I'm walking around the city, looking at it, and it's a beautiful city. And I get to meet pups, and I'm like, can I say hello to your dog? And people are like, are you really that kind of person? I'm like, really that? And then I show them pictures of my dog, because I am also that person. So, but so anyways, you get in. And if you have a board, you can check it. They have a valet service for boards and scooters and bikes and whatnot. Then you go through security, and it's set up really interestingly. Like, so if you go in and you immediately take a ride, it's into like the vert competition area, and then there's kind of like an experiential area where you can go like do various things and whatnot. And then if you go to the left, you're gonna pass by, like, they had an army booth, whatever. But they like the army booth, a monster truck thing. Then there's a chill out center, so you can chill out. On the other side is the merch store and the food court, and then they had the park area, and that would be the Sonic Park, and then the street park, and yeah, man, and by the vert area was also the stage where they had some musicians. I think was it Wiz Khalifa was there?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
I didn't see any of the music, honestly. I from 10 a.m. until about 7 p.m. when the last event was, I was done. I mean, I was toast.
Yeah, I bet.
But yeah, I tried to watch everything I could, and they do have events going, not all the time, but like they'll have a skateboarding event, and then right after they'll have like motocross, and then right after that they'll have BMX, and they'll have another skateboarding event. But because there's different types of skateboarding events and women's events and men's events, sometimes they get a little stacked. So I try to make sure that I watched all of like the women's events, the qualifiers, eliminations, and the finals. Try to watch all the men's events, especially like the vert, the park, the street, best trick for men and women was really, really dope to see. It's super, super fun. But yeah, and if I may recommend, if you get ever to go to X Games and you can add the extra ducats to your cost, get the 3-day super fan pass, because otherwise you're going to stand on the ground. And as a shorty, McShorty, I don't like looking at the back of people's heads or their shoulders, but being able to sit up in the stands and watch was really, really cool.
Oh, so you can only get in the stands if you have the pass for all 3 days?
Yeah, you have to. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Or you can buy a pass per day.
Oh, okay.
But but they do have like security checking to make sure you have the wristband.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, you just have to kind of stand in the crowd. I was telling one of the security folks, I was like, the only thing that would make this better is if it was kind of slanted. Because I've been to a couple of venues like in Houston and Austin, where music venues where the ground itself is grass or a hill, but then you don't have to worry about stands, but short people could stand a little further back and still see, right?
Yeah.
I was like, but otherwise it was an amazing event. Got to eat some amazing Texas barbecue and literally talked to the pitmaster for like 20 minutes because I was like, dude, I blah, blah, blah. And there's like, what part of Texas? And I was telling her, and I was like, yeah, and I smoke meats and I grill and I barbecue all the time and blah, blah, blah. She's like, well, we got sauce. And I'm like, yeah, good brisket doesn't need sauce. And I kid you not, it did not need sauce. It was some of the best brisket I've had in a long ass time. But yeah, man, all 3 days that the events were live, I was there. I did leave a little early on Sunday just because of the 2-hour drive. And also I needed to get back to work, right, on Monday. So I wanted to make sure I wasn't super exhausted because I wanted to give the skate community my best when I got back. And so, yeah, I think I left around 1:30, 2 o'clock on Sunday, got home about 4, and just chilled and relaxed. It was amazing. It's... the cool thing was walking in the crowd and walking by Nija, or walking by Christiana from Sweden. Like I literally bumped into her, and I didn't even mean to, but I was like, I was walking through, and I had my 3 decks because I got the 3 decks. By the way, that's them over there. I'm pointing at the camera. I got the 3 decks attached to my backpack. And I accidentally bumped, and I was excited because I wasn't paying attention. Because like it's like Disneyland for extreme sports fans.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're just always looking around. And she's like, "It's okay." And I walked over and I was like, "La la 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 la." That was a nice interaction. Oh my god! I literally just watched her compete in the women's park. Why did I not get an autograph? So, but I mean, it's those kind of cool moments, you know, like it was really, really neat. And getting to see like world records get tied and broken. Getting to see 900s, 900s in a row. Like that was nuts. Like it was super cool. I can't wait till next year. I already told my wife I'm going back again. I don't care where it is. I'm going.
Man, yeah, I've watched X Games since I was a kid. I would love to actually go to one. It seems so fun, especially seeing you go to it. I'm like, man, I'm jealous. It looks awesome. I want to ask you about your grilling and everything. How did you get into grilling? Because you always post pictures in the Discord, and it looks like you make some amazing food. Like it looks like you're really good at it.
Okay, so growing up, my mom really loved to cook. My mom was an amazing cook, and she used to make like wedding cakes for people in their church, like and not just like a sheet cake, but like multi-tiered cakes with like fountains and whatnot on them. She was amazing. And she really loved to cook, but she taught me, like I homeschooled for my 7th and 8th grade year. And one of the classes was homemaking, where she made me learn how to cook. And it was kind of a responsibility to cook at least once a week. And I would start with easy stuff like spaghetti and meat sauce. Right. And then, over time, I just wanted to learn more. Like, as far as grilling and smoking, I don't like my house being hot. So, like, if I don't have to turn on the oven, if I don't have to turn on the burner, yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
And a little bit of propane and propane accessories ain't gonna hurt nobody. But also, growing up in Texas, you can't help but not appreciate barbecue.
Yeah.
Like you have to. So, yeah, when I got my apartment up in Austin, after I'd started working at EA, and I'd been there for a while, and I was moving into a different apartment, a better apartment. I bought a grill, and I just started doing like steaks. Honestly, easiest thing to grill is steaks. You know, some ribeyes, top sirloins, or whatever, chicken, sausage, stuff like that. And then I started looking at how I wanted to improve things. And for a while, I focused on rubs, like for smoked meats, or seasonings that you can just add and grill them on. And then I started looking at sauces and things like that. And then, you know, I was dating my wife who is Korean, and they have a very interesting flavor profile in their food, and I wanted to learn more about that. And so I started learning how to like take instant ramen. And there was a time, I'm not even kidding, there was a time in my life where I was thinking about doing a cooking show called College Cooking. And basically for broke college students, which are most of them, figuring out recipes that cost less than $5 a day to feed them and be satisfied, right? Like, yeah, you're gonna have to buy in bulk, or and then I mean, there was a time I lived in Austin. I lived in a shotgun style apartment. A shotgun style apartment for the kids at home is basically multiple rooms that are individual leases, shared bathrooms, shared common areas.
Okay.
So like if you and I and two other folks had it, you and another dude or you and another person would share a bathroom. Me and another person would share a bathroom, but we'd have our own private rooms. Then we'd all share the living room and all share the kitchen. And so I lived in that situation. And so I was thinking, how could I adapt this for folks that have to share a fridge or ice boxes or cutlery or dishes or whatever? Because you kind of have to, right? Unless you want to be a total jerk. But I started thinking about that, and I mean, I grew up in a southern Texas family, so like. It wasn't like meal for 4. It was, we could feed 15. Always. Every meal. My mom would always cook. Every meal we'd have plenty of leftovers and stuff like that. So that is one thing I have worked on over the years, is to reduce portion amount. Not portion size. Portion size is fine. But like after 5 days of eating amazing barbecue, you kind of get tired of amazing barbecue. And so,
yeah.
Yeah, man, I love cooking, and especially grilling, smoking meats, making sauces, because to me, that's like jazz, and I love all sorts of music. Baking is very much classical. It is measured, it is timed, it is perfect, and if it's not, it is bad. It is instantly bad. Like you put the wrong amount of baking powder in a cake, it's not gonna rise.
Yeah.
And now you have a brick, right? Yeah. But cooking and grilling and smoking, it's like jazz, man. It's like, oh, I'm going to add a little bit of this. Oh, that sounds weird. Let's add this to counteract it. Oh, that tastes better. All right. And it's very organic to me. Like, I mean, there are the purists who are like, this is how much salt, this is how much pepper, this is how much this. And they're like, bam, that's it. And that's it. I'm not going to do nothing. I like to keep fiddling. I like to keep messing around with it, you know? And I also love the fact that like the internet, the wealth of information on the internet teaches me all sorts of new things. Like the other day I made cowboy candy for the first time, which is basically sweet, fresh pickled jalapenos.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Look it up, kids. Cowboy candy goes with everything. And it's not super spicy, but it's freaking awesome.
It sounds awesome.
Like you can literally eat them like candy. But yeah, I mean, there was a time during the height of the pandemic, I had gotten to the heaviest. I've never been a small dude. I mean, I'm short, but I've never been a svelte, muscular superhero. But I mean, I got to my heaviest, and I'm also at that age where it's a lot harder to lose weight, and so I wanted to. So I'm not afraid of eating. And so like I like tasty things. I think everybody could agree. You like tasty things, not gross things. But I really liked tasty things, and I got to the heaviest. And over the last couple of years, I mean, I've lost 83 pounds. Awesome. I'm on an average day. I preach drink your water, but I drink about 96 ounces on an average day. Usually it's around 120, which is a lot. I run 5Ks almost every day on the treadmill. Every other day I do weights because I want to live long, because there's so much life to experience. There's so much going on in the world, and there's so much to look forward to, while also enjoying the hell out of food. So like, that's the thing. It's like, well, if I do a 45-minute run, I can eat 2 barbecue sandwiches for dinner, plus a big pile of potato salad.
Yeah.
Most important thing is to like, the healthy journey doesn't mean you're like super thin or whatever, but being healthy is also very important mentally. And if you're miserable trying to get your body physically healthy, it does affect it.
Yeah.
And so I just want to be happy, and I'm happy eating delicious food. And so if it tastes good, I'm gonna eat it. And I'm gonna talk about it, and I'm gonna try to learn how to do it. And if it doesn't, I'm gonna try to figure out how to make it better. I've said this to my wife before, and she knows it. My love language is food. Okay. If I can feed someone, if I can give them like every FedEx person, every UPS person, every USPS person that comes to my house for anything, always get offered a water. Usually if I have some sort of barbecue that I've made in the last 24 to 48 hours, I'll make them a sandwich. Pickles and onions always, my homemade sauce always. Bam, there you go, have some food. People come to work on the house, or like the solar installers when they came in, I made them breakfast tacos.
That's awesome.
I like to feed people. It's something that despite it's one of the few things that I learned from my mom that has stayed with me in my adulthood, which is to take care of the people that are taking care of you. So I like to feed people, and feeding people is an act of service, but it's also an act of love, because I took the time to make this, and I'm not just giving them leftovers, right?
Yeah.
Like I bought a sandwich at Chili's, you can have the last quarter of it. It's more of I put my time into this.
Yeah.
It's the investment of time in making something delicious that someone can enjoy, and then giving it to them, not expecting anything but that they have a full belly for whatever they've done or not done. Like I love just giving people food all the time. Like the security guards in our neighborhood, I'm like, dude, do you like brownies? Yeah. All right, I'm gonna make some Ghirardelli brownies. I'll bring you one. Make sure to go get some milk. And like, yeah, so it's fun.
That's
and
awesome.
by the way, that's brownies and cookies are the only, and sometimes cake is the only thing I bake. I'm not into like phyllo bread and stuff. I'm into eating it, but I am never gonna try to like break my mind trying to become a baker.
Yeah.
It's not my style.
Yeah, baking is like,
I don't have the patience.
yeah. Like you watch those baking shows, man, this seems so complicated.
Oh yeah. I love watching them.
Yeah.
And I love them judging them. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
stupid. What are you doing? But I'm like, I have no idea what I'm telling you.
Yeah,
Really.
I could never do what they're doing, but I'm gonna judge them. So
That life though.
yeah, really. So I feel like it's kind of obvious, but what is your favorite food then? Or maybe it's not obvious.
I don't know. I mean, okay, so like I'll say it. My favorite food is tacos.
Okay. Cool.
It's tacos, because anything can go in a taco.
True.
Not everything should, but anything can go in a taco. I love making homemade salsa or salsa fresca, non-blended, not super tomatoey, but like, I currently have in my fridge, because I made it Friday, a bowl of 6 chile salsa fresca, which is, tomatoes, onion, cilantro. And it's not 6 different chilies, but I did 6 chilies, 2 habanero, 2 serrano, 2 jalapeno, diced up, lemon and lime juice squeezed in together, a pinch of salt, and I can just sit there and eat that all day.
That sounds delicious.
I love the flavors, but like tacos, like crunchy tacos are great, but I like soft tacos, street tacos, and also one of the reasons why I became so enamored by tacos is everything is a taco. A hot dog on a bun, that's a taco. That's an American taco.
Hot take right there.
A burger, that's a broken taco. It's got meat and 2 sides. It's a taco.
Yeah.
And I really love sushi. Oh God, especially yellowtail. Give me some yellowtail and a pinch of wasabi, maybe some seaweed or nori. Ooh, I could have a good day. I love food, so it's really hard to pick one.
Yeah.
I would have to say, if I had to pick one, it'd be tacos, and then like there's a lot of Asian different dishes that I like sushi, pho, ramen, really
Love
good.
ramen.
Tonkatsu ramen, give it to me all day long. I'll eat some instant ramen and throw some brisket in there and chopped up jalapenos and minced garlic, and it's like I went to a ramen restaurant.
Yeah.
Not a very good one, but it's delicious. But I all sorts of stuff. As far as like my favorite, if I had to pick a favorite sweet though, I like chocolate. I do like. I don't eat a lot of sweets. But I do like chocolate. Like the old school Hershey bar, man. I could just dig on those.
Delicious.
I used to really love Snickers, but I know I've told you about my dental adventures over the last year.
Yeah.
So I had to step back from those, and honestly, it's okay, man. I don't really miss it that much, and I do enjoy a good chocolate chip cookie.
Can't go wrong
Not
with
not
that.
not the super chewy ones, but also not the super hard ones. That kind of in between. And one time this is funny. I really am not a baker, so one time I put too much of an ingredient into homemade chocolate chip cookies, and I made cakeys. So they were almost like cake, but cookie shaped. And
Sounds
they were
good.
delicious.
Yes.
When they had a little firm edge. My wife did not think they were a perfection, and yet I still married her, so she's lucky.
Yeah. No, they sound good still, regardless. Man, that's awesome. I got one last question. Just because I feel like you do so much. Like what are some other things that like you're into that maybe people don't know? Like it just seems like I don't know. You do a lot.
I like to keep very busy, and my mind is constantly thinking of things. And so I've been playing musical instruments since I was 12. I started off on violin, viola. I've been playing bass guitar since I was 18. I've been in a couple of bands, as oddly as the vocalist.
Nice.
Which is weird because I sound like a prepubescent young man when I talk. But somehow my voice worked for some of the songs. I love reading. I love reading.
Okay.
There was a time in my life where I probably read I think in 5 months I read 68 novels.
Wow.
I just really dove into it. There was a reason I was reading. We could talk. We could talk offline.
Okay.
But there wasn't. I'll just say it this way, and anybody can think anything. There wasn't much else to do. It was either books or sit. So.
Okay.
But I used to be into drawing, and I love art. I love art.
Mm-hmm.
But I also realized that I don't have the patience or the perspective to be the artist that I appreciate so much. So I leave that to the betters. And I enjoy the hell out of it and support it. I love content creation. I love watching people make cool things. I love sharing it and celebrating it. And I got inspired when I was on Battlefield by these amazing content creators. That most of the blogs, the community blogs that were written for Battlefield 1 featured my screen captures.
Nice.
Based on what I learned from the community. I love learning. I love learning. Give me a task that I don't know how to do. I promise you I will learn about it. I learned I think that's the thing. I love learning. It doesn't mean if it's going to be a translatable skill for my life or whatever. Like when I had the solar installed, we had a few issues, God bless them. But I learned so much about solar, like when I would have to call in about the issue or find a status update, and I would be able to talk to them intelligently about what was happening. Hey, so yeah, these panels were supposed to be this, but they're showing this. The inverter's this and this and this, and I know that this is happening. Blah 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 blah. And it was awesome. I really love music. I love listening to it. I love going and seeing it live. I love making it. I love learning it from others. Skateboarding, obviously. Honestly, one of my favorite things to do is watch cartoons. I love.
Really?
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. Bob's Burgers, Steven Universe, Bluey,
Nice.
Futurama, the original 10 seasons. The latest seasons, I'm not sure yet. You know, it was like God bless them. I'm so glad they came back. But it's like, did we need it? The ending was really good. The last episode was really good, and like so I'm like, oh whatever. But yeah, I love watching movies. I love science. Oh, I'm a big star nerd. I'll sit out on my patio and I'll just go look at the stars. And I've got an app where I can find different stars and I read about them. I love watching the various documentaries. I am a true crime fan. Not a fan of actual crime, but I'm a fan of like how they explain how they discover like the criminals and how they catch them, and
Yeah.
then the court case and then the aftermath. Really interesting stuff, mainly because of the psychology of people. Also, apparently there was a period in the United States where all of the serial killers decided to become born and do all of their bad things. The 70s were weird and crazy, and usually in California. So yeah, I'm glad I live here.
Yeah.
But I looked at my wife and was like, did we move to the wrong state? She's like, no, we're 50 years late, so it's fine.
Yeah, you're good.
But yeah, I like it is. I'm like a magpie, dude. If it's shiny, it's gonna catch my interest, and if it holds my interest for longer than 5 seconds, I'm gonna learn about it and try to do it.
That's
Like,
awesome.
so I like everything. I like, and I like people. It's odd. I love my solitude. I love being a homebody. But man, once I step out the door, something clicks, and I want to talk to people.
Yeah.
I talk to people in the grocery store. I talk to people in line at the bank, or well, I mean, nobody gets in line at the bank, but I talk to people in line at places, and I'm like, yeah, blah 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 blah. I love the realness of that human interaction. It's very cool.
I think that's what makes you a really good community manager, because you love talking to people.
I honestly, I have had the privilege of learning from some of the best in the industry. I have, and I've always said that I'm a gamer first. I'm an employee second, and I just want to be the community manager that I would like to have. And I'm not there yet. We're all a work in progress. I'm not the best in the industry. Hell, I'm pretty sure I'm not the best at EA for sure. But if I can be the best me today and then improve upon that tomorrow and be the best me tomorrow, better than I was today, to me that's all I need to do. Like, that's all I want to do, is because I want people to feel when they come to the communities that I get to serve, and that is the reality. I serve at the pleasure of the studio, and I serve the community. But when I get to be part of a moment where the community is super excited, that excitement, that joy, that passion, that twinkle in their eye when they see something super cool that I've known about, and I've been just having to bite my tongue to not say anything, it's one of the best moments, you know. And I just want to be, I want the community to feel comfortable. I want them to feel safe, and I want them to be happy and have fun. And if we can all do that, I've done my job, because that's all we need, is that connection.
Yeah. Well, like I've said a few times, I think you do an amazing job. I think you do a lot for the community. You've definitely done a lot for me, and I think I can speak for just the community in general that, like, man, we appreciate you. You do an incredible job, so thank you for everything you do. You're the best.
I love the community, and much love to you, Will.
Appreciate it.
You're I was a fan before the first time we talked. I used to watch your videos before we ever talked, and I think that's one of the neatest things about this job, is the fact that I have watched most of the content creators that I've had the pleasure and privilege of working with, and a lot of the community members. I've watched y'all's content way before we ever had a conversation.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm a gamer first, so I'm gonna watch the content. Like I have this privilege of being friends with the Battlefield friends, and I watched their content before I ever got to hang out with them in Sweden for a capture event, or hang out with them at EA Play for a scrimmage or whatever. And just it's really neat, like Jack Frags or Westy, you know, any of those cats over in the Battlefield community. And I look forward to that opportunity and that moment that we will have eventually, when Skate is live and we're doing events and we're live in places. I don't know anything for sure, so this is not a reveal of any type. But I do know that being in the community is one of the most important things in skateboarding. Is being with the others, being with skaters, being with friends, being with family, building up that skate family vibe and those relationships. So when it happens, you're gonna need a crowbar to pry the smile off my face because I'm gonna be so happy.
Dude, are you kidding, man? I cannot wait. I hope that day comes. That would be awesome. Bring back EA Play. Come on, let's do it. Like, let's get everyone to come back together. Come on.
Or gosh, let's go to Gamescom. Let's go to X Games.
Dude,
let's set up
let's
some
do it.
consoles and some PCs and set up. Oh, son! Oh, so many cool ideas could happen.
Dude, yeah.
But
That'd be awesome.
we'll have to see. We'll have to see.
Yeah, man. Well, that's it. I appreciate you coming on again. This has been incredible. I hope everyone enjoys it as much as I did.
It's been my privilege and my pleasure to be here with you, and thank you so much for letting me tell my silly little story of me. And I hope it doesn't make you lose viewers or followers.
No, it definitely won't.
But remember, take your breaks. Stay up every hour for that circulation. And what do I always say, my brother? Drink your water. Stay hydrated.
Yep. Gotta drink your water. All right, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Much love, my brother.
Yeah.